What is going on, everybody? Thank you for tuning in to another edition of On the Road to Victory. I'm your host, Jimmy Smith, and I hope you're all having yourselves a fantastic night. It's Thursday night, tomorrow, a Friday. Cannot effing wait for that. What a day it has been. But look, not as late as I thought it could have been today, so that's some positive news, right? But we're in day two officially of free agency. We know the tampering period began at the beginning of the week. We've talked about all of these things, and we'll recap some of these things. I'll show you an updated depth chart. We'll talk about the new additions, everything you need to know, keeping you up to date throughout this free agency. So if you have any questions, any comments, leave them down below. I'm going to have to try to keep this one about 10 minutes here. So we'll try to get through this information first, then I'll take everything you guys have to say. We'll talk about all of it, but I appreciate each and every one of you hitting that like button, the sharing, the subscribing. All the stuff really means the world to me. Cannot thank you enough for the support. But let's jump into this and start this off here. Goodbye, my man. Hope you're having a great day. And it was, man. I pulled something last week. It has been really kicking my ass in the last couple of days. Been pretty intense. I'm not going to lie to you. And, I was feeling it today, and luckily, not too much. It started the day, a lot of like stuff lifting and stuff, but then I got to drive around. Me driving around a dump truck is just hilarious. Sometimes, like with the Josh Uche news, I pulled over and created the graphics, sent it out and stuff. I took my lunch just to be able to make things happen. Now, I also did some other things to enjoy my lunch, but it was just like, well, there we go. But a true sicko, right? But you guys, I appreciate you bearing with me as I work my ass off and try to get home and put together these graphics as quickly as I possibly can. So, but let's rock and roll here. Let's talk about some of these new signings. I want to hear your thoughts on it. Liz in the building. Appreciate you tuning in. Let's effing go. But time to talk some birds. And I think Josh scheduled to replace Warren Burks. You mean Josh Uche? But no, he won't be playing his Bishop. But that, yeah. So we're going to talk about what we're going to talk about here. Let's get it started with the signings of the day. And again, you'll get a recap at the end here of the players lost, added, all of them throughout free agency, who is remaining. And then I put together that depth chart for you so you know what the team looks like and you can understand where I'm coming from when I talk about certain positions, where I think the Eagles need to add, why I'm not worried about things, all that great stuff. So let's start it off and talk about one of my top fits from last week when we talked about the edge position. You know, obviously, I am a huge fan. Wanted Jalen Hunt in this draft. Very excited there. Nolan Smith, you know, obviously a lot of people jumped off that bandwagon last year. I was not one of them. Big fan of his. I think those two are the future. Bryce Huff, I wish something would, work out there. You're probably not going to try to move on from him till after June 1st because the money wouldn't make sense. But it doesn't mean you can't. If you want to take on the dead money, you can find someone that will give you something in return. You might just bite the bullet. But I've shown you the numbers there. We've talked about all that. And getting a guy like Uche, I've talked about him. Even last year we talked about him. I think, as a trade candidate, he, for me, was someone with high upside. And, the Chiefs took that chance, traded, I believe it was a 6th-round pick last year for him. And it just didn't really pan out. He played 6 games, didn't start any. And we talked about him already. And sorry, this graphic isn't updated with the rest of the signings. I just reused this graphic from last week. Made it easier on myself. Look, I've been working my ass off here, guys. I really appreciate you bearing with me. But, so we're just reusing this graphic. But 6'2", 250, and just like we talked about, during last week's show. The reason I like him is his versatility. And I told you in that show, remember Zach Bond? A guy that played edge formerly, but hey, maybe Vic Fangio can use him off ball, use his skill set. I think that this kid, is somebody I, enjoyed. So clearly I brought him up for a reason. But I think he's a top fit because he's that, I've heard people complaining about the size, this, that, the other thing. And it's like, look, man, this kid, he comes from Michigan, a good pedigree there. I think in the right system, he fits what Vic Fangio is looking for. Only 26 years old. I just think it's a no-brainer that this kid, for me, was a good signing if we could make it happen. And, well, today we made it happen, and I think he's going to add to that rotation where, maybe he starts over Jalen Hunt. But I think, Hunt's still a very bright future, but this kid, very talented. So part of that rotation. And if you can get Huff up to speed and, just producing as a backup, learning this system, obviously he came from the Jets, completely different system there. But again, Uche, Huff, backing up Smith and Hunt there, I wouldn't be against it at all. So a big fan. And, in 2022, we talked about it, had like 11 and a half sacks on the season. Really looked like he was going to be something special there for the Patriots. Injuries, things like that happen to people where lose jobs, all that great stuff. But I think he's got a very bright future still. And I thought that this would be a great fit for the Eagles. And I'm glad they made the move. And then they followed it up with another one of my top fits. And this is tight end Harrison Bryant. And we talked about, giving Grant Calcaterra some competition here. Need a backup tight end, need a guy that could possibly be part of the future as well. And when you're talking about Goddard being in maybe his final year, maybe a couple of years, depending on what they want to do, they extend him, whatever. I think, and clearly people making up rumors, he's being traded, how he traded it, all this stuff. And people do it every year. That's fantastic. If it happens, we'll talk about it, but it's not. So, and those per year money, that's my projection from, the show. This show was from 2 weeks ago when we talked about Harrison Bryant. But I projected, I think he's actually getting paid like $2 million. Uche, a little bit under $2 million. It said $2 million for Uche, but again, that's my projection. That's not the actual money. So Harrison Bryant, to me, this was a perfect pickup because the guy can actually block, which need that. And he can catch too. And it's not like he's, a wide receiver or anything, but he can catch the ball. And, out of Florida Atlantic coming into his sixth season, he is only 26 years old. And, we talk about, his stats. He was behind Brock Bowers. Austin Hooper was there. To me, I don't care. I'm not a stat watcher. I know a lot of people, that's how they base, their opinion. They don't watch the game or understand what they're watching. I pass on that kind of stuff. For me, I like to know what's actually going on. And I think Harrison Bryant was the perfect fit for the Eagles. So another great signing. And, it's depth that we're looking for in most places. And again, we'll look at that depth chart at the end of the show here. But, a great signing nonetheless. And then a little bit later, right before, I just got home and I was trying. I was like, okay, I put all these graphics together, and then I had to change them all because, we signed Adoree Jackson. So former Giant, former Titan, first round pick back in 2017, going into his 9th season, 29 years old, 5'11", 185. And I don't know his numbers yet, but he actually got benched last season, 93.8 passer rating allowed. He did have a tackle for a loss, a forced fumble recovery, if I'm fumbling my words, 5 passes deflected, 28 tackles. So, look, we know who he is. He's a veteran. This is somebody that comes in, pushes Kaylee Ringo, but also, provides a veteran presence here in the offseason. So, if he makes the team, great. If he doesn't, whatever. If he starts, fantastic. Now, this does not take away from the fact that the draft is coming up. And if you want to add people there, you want to trade for somebody, you want to sign somebody, all of those things are still very possible. And I understand the media gets people, off season's over, everything's done, it's the second day of free agency, you can no longer add. That's not how this works at all. I promise you the Eagles will continue to do what the Eagles do, and they're going to go spank some people. And I'll be taking people to the woodshed all season. I just saw this one about how the Eagles are in cap hell, and they suck, and they knew it. The Eagles were one-hit wonders, were failures. And these are Eagles. Please go away. We don't want you. We know you're bandwagon losers. You just jumped aboard when we won the Super Bowl. Please go away. It has been unbearable. It's only been like a month and a week or so since we won the Super Bowl. And I told you, these people are weak. They're brittle, not built for this fan base. And I could care less what they have to say. So let's talk about, what we have done. And they're not doing anything. I'm going to show you what they've done. So let's take a gander here, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on any of these players. Whatever you got going on in your mind about anybody or whatever it is, I'd like to hear it. So let me jump over here, see these comments real fast, and then I will jump back. And, always enjoy the draft. And, I mentioned both those guys as I didn't mention them. They were actually my top fits. I made actual graphics and broke down those guys. So you guys can check out those shows. You can check out the shorts that I made, showing you the clips from those shows, anything, if you guys are into that kind of stuff. We do this every year here. But Mekhi Becton is a free agent. Thought of him as possible linebacker too. Yes, that's why I was saying off-ball linebacker. That's what that means. And that's what I was talking about last year and week ago when we were talking about this. So, all those things I said, I mean them. I promise you. Go Birds! Appreciate you tuning in. And Brandon, my friend, hope you are doing well. Glad you could make it, my man. And I was always cooking, Rock. You should know that by now. And yeah, these are great moves. These are the ones I talk about, and people get mad at me. You're not talking about every all-pro free agent. Yeah, because I don't live in douchebag world. I actually talk about what happens. And then when it happens, then I'm a jerk because I talk about real football rather than Madden. And it is what it is, but we'll try to get people on board. We really will. Yeah, people just are really lost. They don't know anything about football, and tough times for them. So, yeah, and it's always rough seeing those people, but that's why I create my own stuff, because I could care less. Let's effing go. Keith, my man in the building. Appreciate you, dude. How about we take a little look at what's going down in free agency, and let's get to that depth chart, because I was excited just looking at it. Now, boom, players added so far this free agency period. And you can see Uche, Jackson added there, Harrison Bryant, and then, of course, last couple of days, A.J. Dillon, Kenyon Green, Dorian Thompson Robinson. Those last two, obviously, via trade. I'll show you those trade details in a second when we talk about the draft picks. But those are the players. You can see 2 on defense, 4 on offense, and these are all the places where we talked about we needed to add depth pieces, and doing so is a great job by Howie. So don't listen to people that don't know anything about football. Just laugh in their face and say, well, actually, I enjoy winning and being a Super Bowl champion team. You're dumb. Let's effing go Birds. Now, also, we brought back a lot of the practice squad guys, and these are the reserve future signings that will be here this offseason to compete for a roster spot. So a lot of young guys we've been talking about. Gabe Hall is there, Andre Sam. Got guys like Danny Gray, Cameron Latou that were added right at the end of the season to the practice squad. See if they can do anything. So a lot of intriguing pieces there. And we'll definitely, watch all of the competition at every position throughout this offseason. But Howie's been cooking, I promise you. And when he extended Saquon Barkley, that's a huge move. That is ensuring your future is here. Love that. And then we brought back 2 key pieces. And these were both, obviously, my number one move this offseason, get Zach Bond back. We did that. One of my top fits, my number one top fit, Ben Van Sumrecht, to bring him back. And we talked about this, not much as a linebacker, and they're not even listing him as that anymore. So get him back for his special teams prowess and his ability to play fullback, emergency linebacker. I think it's a no-brainer. He was an exclusive rights free agent, so his deal is minimum. So loving it, man. Thought those were great additions. Now, I had mentioned the trades, and, I know a lot of people were upset about this one. C.J. Gardner-Johnson. We also gave away a 6th-round pick next year, but we acquired Kenyon Green, and we also acquired a 5th-round pick. So we got a round higher there and moved on from CJ. I know it's upsetting, but you'll be all right, I promise you. Now, up next, Dorian Thompson. What is going on here? So Dorian Thompson Robinson, 2025, this year, 5th-round pick for Kenny Pickett. Love it. Go ahead, Howie. Loving every second of it. And you remember Dorian Thompson Robinson when we talked about him out of UCLA. I know Chip Kelly sucks, but I like me some DTR. So very excited to see him competing with someone else for that QB3 spot. Tanner McKee moves up. Let's effing go. But Howie acquiring draft picks. That's just something he does. So looking at the draft picks we have now, 16 in the next 2 years, and obviously the 7 in 2027. Once the draft comes about, you will be able to move those pieces as well, and you will have yourself 23 picks. So, oh yeah. And then next year, compensatory picks will come, and we'll talk about that here in a little bit. But man, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 4 5ths this season. You know how he's going to be trading, trade up, trade down, whatever he wants to do. We'll talk about all of it during the draft series, but I'm pumped up. And then 2026, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, another 3rd, a 4th, 2 5ths, and then a 7th. So Howie's working his magic. Love to see it while everyone's whining, crying about how this team's done. I'm talking about building a dynasty. I can't wait. You remember last year when everyone told me how dumb I was. Vic Fangio's the worst. Got to fire Howie. Got to trade Hurts. You remember all that stuff, right? Yeah, I do. Don't listen to those people. I promise you they're clueless. And we're building a dynasty, and we're going to win the Super Bowl again this year. And I'm going to keep showing you each day, each week, how that's going to be done. And it looks like Howie's tuning in again this year. Let's go. Appreciate you, little buddy. But let's take a gander here. And these are the guys that are remaining in free agency. And Mekhi Becton, obviously, he is somebody that we enjoyed seeing his, little career turnaround there. But hey, maybe he's garnering some high offers here. And the Eagles aren't willing to do that. We drafted Tyler Steen for a reason. You just traded, you got Kenyon Green, so there's some competition there, Steen and Green, to see who's RG. So I'm all about it. But beyond Becton, there's not really Rick Lovato. I want back as our long snapper, but I don't care. BG, be great to have him back, but I think he's going to retire. He said he's going to, but then he said he didn't know, so we'll find out. But beyond that, dude, you could bring in, Fred Johnson, Jack Driscoll for some competition in camp. Paris Campbell. Honestly, I don't care. I don't think you need to bring anybody back here. Just keep continuing. This is how football works every year, and it's okay. This is the turnover, and it happens. So best of luck to those guys. Whatever happens to them, wherever they go. But let's talk about the guys that did go. These are the free agents and players we signed. All the players we have lost so far that went somewhere else. So on offense, Kenny Gainwell to the Steelers, Kenny Pickett to the Browns. Then on defense, you can see Burks, CJ, GJ, Rogers, Slay, Sweat, and Williams, all to new destinations. And, well, the only one that's surprising here is CJ Gardner-Johnson, all the other things we talked about this offseason. And, look, Sidney Brown, baby, we have clearly been – that's somebody I wanted in the draft a couple of years ago, and I'm high on him. Hope he does well, competing with McCollum and Scene and Andre Sam. But I also think you could sign someone like Justin Simmons. You could draft someone. So just stay patient, and you'll see how this roster pans out. Now, with the players we added, with the players we lost, a lot of compensatory pick talk, and I always say it, but I figured why not give you a graphic and show you? Maybe it helps explain it a little bit better. But when you sign players and when you lose players, that is where the formula is, what the formula is made of here. So when you have free agents lost, those guys, why did it not save with their position? Anyway, sorry, my OCD kicked in right away and saw that the positions weren't green, and that pissed me off right away. Canva does this, it's fine. So you've got Milton Williams, $26 million. So it's all based off of how much money they're making. And then, the guys, so again, remember what I said, the guys you're adding, the guys that you're losing. So the guys that we lost, Milton Williams, that's probably a third-round pick. Josh Sweat, probably a fourth-round pick. Isaiah Rodgers, probably a sixth-round pick. So, and that's most likely, but that if it were to end right now, you don't sign anybody else, you don't lose anybody. Now, Mekhi Becton, I think he, with whatever he gets paid, it would depend, but he's good enough that he could probably get you around a fourth, fifth. I don't think he's going to get paid to get you a third, but I think that, you could definitely get another compensatory pick there. But we haven't, guys like Burks, Gainwell, they're not making enough on their new teams that it affects that. So you're not getting anything there. And then when you look at the players you added, A.J. Dillon and Adoree Jackson don't know the numbers just yet, but I guarantee you both of their deals, one-year deals, are not going to be enough to affect that compensatory formula. You see Bryant, you see Uche, both of those guys do not affect the cap. And, so right now, 3, 4, 6 is what you have. Question marks for Dillon and Jackson, but I promise you those will be X's. So, man, if you add some huge name like Justin Simmons, that will probably cancel out one of those guys. But again, you're going to lose Becton, so you could have 3 of them. But I see a lot of people talking about crazy stuff. All these picks we have in the first round next year. We'll see what happens in free agency, and then I'll let you know what's going on with this. But that's where it's at right now, a 3, 4, and a 6 most likely. But that's all the players we lost, added, remaining, the draft picks we have now, the talking about the players, all that stuff. I wanted to try to get in as quick as I could. 10 minutes, my ass, it's almost 20. But there is one last thing I put together for you guys, and it's updated depth chart with the new players, all the players under contract, all that stuff. So we will, let's go over that here in a second, but let me jump over here. We went to target in the first 3 rounds. We'll talk about all that coming up here soon. You think we're going to add any more depth? Yeah, you're always going to add in the offseason. And, man, I'm glad people are finally starting to agree with me there because, been a rough few years there. Let's see what you've seen. Yeah, you got here at the end of the year. So, let me show you this updated depth chart here. And, boom, here is your offense currently. And again, don't listen to the media. I promise you, you're allowed to continue adding. It does not stop in day 2. We talk about this every year. Media and the casual fans just like to get upset about everything. Just ignore them. I promise you it'll be okay. But Dorian Thompson-Robinson sliding into 3 there. See A.J. Dillon. He could get that number 2 spot. I'm just putting people in. I don't care. I know people will get upset about this. They always are looking for something to be upset about. Not built for this, I can assure you. But Danny Gray, Elijah Cooks there with Anaya Smith and Johnny Wilson. Again, you've got a very good trio here, the best in the league. So you just hope that some of these young guys develop and continue to grow. Anais, I'm excited for his future, as well as Johnny Wilson, 2 guys we wanted last year as top fits in the draft. Then you've got Goddard there at tight end with now Harrison Bryant competing with Calcaterra. You got Jenkins there, Latu and Muse added as reserve future. So got some competition. Would still look in the draft to add there. And as we've been talking about this offseason, the offensive line, you're always going to continue to grow and add on offense and defensive line. We always in the trenches. Don't let anyone tell you any differently. I don't lie. I promise you, they're always going to stick to their guns. But you see here, you've got a lot of free agents that are offensive linemen. So right now you've got Keegan Kennard traded for Kenyon Green, Brett Toth, and then the kid who just started playing football, Laken Vakalahi from Australia. So, no doubt. Steen, I have plugged in there. If Green wants to try to win it, fantastic. If Keegan wants to try to win it, hell yeah, let's go. Kennard, Toth, anybody. Whoever wants to be that guy, go get it. But remember, the draft is coming up. So, but you see, bringing back Van Sumeren, our fullback, and now getting 4 other players, Harrison Bryant, Kenyon Green, A.J. Dillon, DTR. So good additions. These are what we needed. Because, look, you still have Jalen Hurts, Saquon Barkley, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith. I mean, am I tripping here? People just like to complain. I'm excited about this offense. I still think it's going to be one of the best. And I'll repeat myself again this year until everyone bows down and repeats me. So that's fine, man. Let them hate. I'll continue to educate. Now, on the defensive side of the ball, getting Zach Bond back, huge. It was the biggest concern. We needed to do that. Everyone else didn't matter if they left. We knew Milton Williams and Josh Sweat would be gone. Most likely Slay. We talked about all these things months in advance. Let the casuals and the media lose their minds over it. We knew. So, Ojomo, time to shine. Booker, Gabe Hall, Byron Young, got guys that are ready to compete here. You lose out on Josh Sweat. Well, Hunt, Uche, Huff. And then you got Henry and Mathis, the reserve future signings, some veteran players that will compete as well. So you are bringing players in, and again, you will continue to do so. Then at linebacker, Gant and Trotter backing up Dean and Bond there. Clearly, you would like to see some additions there. Ben Van Sumeren can play linebacker as well. So, but I do think that they will continue to look into the free agent pool, and I do believe they plan on drafting this year. I know the media is saying we can't, but promise you, we can. Now, Adoree Jackson, maybe he wants to win that job. Good for him. But I just put Kaylee Ringo in there because that's how it was before he signed. So, yeah, he's there now. If he wants to win it, fantastic. But you got Eli Ricks here that can also compete. Now, Nickerson, Castro, Fields, Woods, more so, your versatile D-backs that can help at nickel or safety. They'll be competing as well. But Q-Mitch, DeJean, they are the future. Still very excited. And then, getting rid of CJ. That's unfortunate. Sidney Brown is here, though. McCollum, Sam, as we just mentioned. So, as much as everybody wants to say the season's over, I'm not buying it, man. Back-to-back Super Bowls, building a dynasty. I'll keep saying it. That's how I feel about it. And then the special teams, bring back Rick Lovato. I don't think it's a concern. I think they will. But, without a lot of these players like Kenny Gainwell, Paris Campbell, a lot of guys that have the ability to return, Britton Covey, our punt returner. But Anaya Smith, when he was drafted, we talk about his versatility, ability to play the punt returner and the kick returner. I'm all about that. I don't want to see Cooper DeJean punt returning anymore. Well, Shipley can kick return. Danny Gray can return. Hell, Adoree Jackson used to return. Maybe he returns if he doesn't win a starting job. So you've got options here. But I know it's very early, but I just love knowing what the team looks like and knowing everything about it. So I just figured you might like to know as well. So that's why I put it together. We're going to keep it updated throughout the offseason. Any players we add, so you know what's going on at every position. This weekend, we're going to recap. Tomorrow's Fan Friday. We're going to recap everything that happened this week, whatever's on your mind. We'll we'll talk about, and I don't even know if it'll be Fan Friday. It might just be day 3 free agency because there's probably going to be stuff happening. See how it goes. Regardless, I'll be live throughout this weekend. I'll be doing a recap show, not live, so you guys can just get all the information, everybody we signed, all that stuff, everything you need to know. I will recap you there and add in all kinds of stuff that I wanted to throughout this week. Just been super busy. But we got the draft coming up. We got loads of stuff coming your way. It's a very long off season ahead. Sicko season. I cannot wait. And for those of you who do participate, who do celebrate Sicko season, I appreciate you. Let those people go through months of pure agony, hate on our team all year, and then become the biggest fans after we win the Super Bowl. I look forward to it happening again this year. But if you guys have any questions, comments, anything you want to add, you're watching this later, I'd love to hear from you, but I have to roll. So, look, I love you guys. Hope you're having yourselves a great week. It's Friday tomorrow. Let's go. Weekend is right here. So I hope to see you guys live tomorrow. Hope to hear from you. Hope to hear from you, whether you guys are watching later, the Drews, the Liz's, the Chinas of the world that, I know you guys are busy. I always love hearing from you. Nina, everybody, all of you. And there's so many of you. I wish I could but those are some of my day ones that have been here for so long. And Linda, you've been in here. I know that, we've got some true diehards and some of you just tuning in. Keith, my man, was in here. I think that you guys, I'd be lost without you. Kavai started us off. Eric was in here. Bob was in here. You guys, you really keep me going. I can't do it without you. I needed to know that there were sickos in here. And, some new ones like Rock and Brandon that were tuning in. You guys are awesome, dude. I really think that, you guys enjoy the show, you say, but, I don't think you understand how much I enjoy the camaraderie, having this time with you guys to talk birds after long days, man. It's always nice to come here, know that people appreciate the work, want to talk about what's actually going on with the Eagles. It means the world to me. So thank you, guys. Hope you're ready for an intense sicko season because we're off to a great start. Don't listen to those wieners out there. But I'll be back tomorrow breaking down whatever the hell else happens. If anything happens tonight, you're just getting a post. Won't be able to make any videos, but I will return tomorrow. If you need anything else until then, yes, Herschel, I'm telling them soon. He's early. He wants me to tell you, go Birds. I'm letting them know if they need anything. I'm always here for you guys as you are for. If you want to tell them. But seriously, if you guys need me, always here for you. I love each and every one of you. Hope you have a great rest of your night. If you got anything from this video, do me a favor. Hit that like button. Share this bad boy. Subscribe down below. But until next time, I am Jimmy Smith, and this is On the Road to Victory. And as always, you guys have a great night. I wanted him to do it. Damn it. You guys all have a great night. Stay safe out there. And as always, say it with me now. Go Birds!